Hey, basketball coaches and basketball players, today I'm going to talk to you about how you can attack and beat the 2-3 zone defense. Now, the 2-3 zone defense is one of the most popular zone defenses at the youth level, and of course, if you are playing against a 2-3 zone defense, you're going to want to know how to attack and beat that zone. Let's get down to the clipboard and let's check out how you can attack and beat a 2-3 zone defense. First off, to understand the 2-3 zone, you have to know how it is ran. And basically, in a zone defense, you are defending an area of the court and not an individual player. Now, there are areas that the zones do overlap. And that's those 5 spots right there. Technically, there as well. Now, what does this tell us? Well, those are double team locations. So if a ball is in a double team location, generally speaking, it's going to be leaving a lot of players open, especially if you have players in those other zones. So our number one tactic is attacking those open spots in the zone. By attacking the gaps in a zone, you're going to be collapsing those 2 players. And if you've got other players around, then you have the ability to now get players open shots. So for example, if you've got a player in the low post out on the wing, and you've got maybe another player up top, and you've got a player attacking that gap, you're going to be collapsing most likely those 2 players, and you're going to be leaving 1 player open, and that's going to be player 2 for that 3-point shot. Another strategy that I've briefly talked about when I made a video about attacking the 3-2 zone defense, and that is getting the ball to the high post. And this is the exact same strategy that you could use against a 2-3 zone. So you could have a player from the weak side come up and go towards that high post. What's going to happen then is you can pass that ball into the high post, which should raise up player 5, which would be a high to low post pass to player 5 for that easy layup. Now, another strategy that you could implement is by very simply having player 5 go up towards that high post, which is going to bring player 5 up from the low post, and now you can have player 3 and 2 cut baseline, in which case if player 2 cuts baseline, we could have player 5 pass down to player 2 for a layup. If that draws down player 4, we could then have player 1 go down into that low wing, and now he could be kicking the ball out to player 1 for that 3-point shot. However, what's going to happen here is that we'll draw player 4 back out, and we could have a pass down to player 2 for that layup as well. Now, these are just basic strategies. I've got more advanced strategies coming up in a few seconds, but these are just basic strategies that you could run as a player or as a coach against the 2-3 zone that should get you easy baskets. Now, the thing that I've seen at the youth level is a lot of teams, when they run a 2-3 zone, they don't understand how to run a man-to-man. So if you can beat the team running a 2-3 zone, they're going to want to change their defense up to something that they're not used to running, like a man-to-man, for example. And anytime you get to change the other team's defensive strategy, you're now moving them into a zone or another defense that they're not as comfortable using. Now, really quickly, if you're a team running a zone defense and you really like zones, or if you really want to be able to confuse the other team, go check out my Unbeatable and Perimeter Basketball defense books in the link in the description below. Now, one way I really like to attack a 2-3 zone is by running a 3-out, 2-in, so 3 players on the outside and 2 players on the low post offense. Because what's going to happen is, because this is a double team location, these 2 players are going to be drawn in together. Now, very simply, you could have player 1 pass over to player 3, which is going to raise up player 3. That's going to shift the defense over just like this, and we could have player 1 cut down towards that side. Now, this is creating a triangle offense, which you could Oh, actually, that's just an open three-point shot, possibly. But we now are running a triangle offense. I really personally love the triangle offense against the 2-3 zone because you've got players who could be possibly in the high or low post, and you're essentially overloading that wing. However, in single coverage in the zone, this is covered quite well. However, you could have very easy options from here where you could have player 4 back screen on player 1 for player 3 who could cut towards the basket. Player 1 could pass into player 3. After this screen, player 4 could roll towards the middle of the court, and this could be an easy pass and nice floater from player 4. Now that's just a quick, simple play, but I hope that you get the point from that. However, after that initial cut down from player 1, you could also go into what I call a super overload offense, which is when player 5 moves up towards that high post, and you can get some nice, easy high to low post passes happening from this. You can also, what I really like to have is player 5 to get that ball, and now you've got player 4 who may be open, but if player 2 pops down just a bit, this could be a nice skip pass out to player 2. I call it a skip pass because it's passing over that imaginary center line. You don't usually want to pass over that, but in this kind of a formation, you could get some really easy shots from that weak side player. This is going to be bringing player 4 red out to defend player 2, and because of that, we could have both player 4 and 5 cut across to that post, or we could have player 4 set a screen on player 3 and player 1 could pop out towards that low post, and same as player 3, which now we have 2 players in that post, and now the rotation is quite slow. We could have now player 4 pop up towards the top and literally start a triangle all over again, and because there's a lot of players who are out of position, we could have some easy high to low post passes. There's so much you could do out of the super overload or triangle offense against a 2-3 zone. Now, I hope that these plays and these strategies help you defeat a 2-3 zone much easier. If they do, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.